This coming Saturday at TNA Slammiversary, there's a 6-man elimination match for the TNA World Championship. And if TNA is smart, then they will believe in Joe Hendry as their next TNA World Champion.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ringside Cinema. I am Money Mike, and yes, the phrase strike while the iron is hot is as relevant as it can be when it comes to Joe Hendry. Right now, Joe Hendry is all over the place. He's in NXT, he's in TNA. All of his music videos on YouTube are getting a lot more views. I've watched older videos that he's done, and people are now finding out about the Joe Hendry YouTube rabbit hole per se, where you get stuck watching all of his past videos. Even WWE Hall of Famer JBL believes in Joe Hendry. And TNA should believe in Joe Hendry to be their World Heavyweight Champion and leave Montreal on Saturday night with the TNA World Championship. But before we go any further, hit that like and subscribe button if you believe in what I do here at Ringside Cinema, as I post weekly wrestling content. So, is it going to be a mistake if Joe Hendry doesn't leave Montreal with the World Heavyweight Championship? Absolutely. TNA right now, I think Moose has done a great job as champion, but I think we're at the point where it's time for somebody new. And I look at this match, I look at who could be the next face of TNA as the world champion. I think it has to be Joe Hendry. You have to strike while the iron is hot. You look at who else is in this match. Obviously, Moose, who is the TNA World Champion. Then you have Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler. You have Steve Maclin, Josh Alexander, Joe Hendry, and Frankie Kazarian. Now, to me, in this match, I feel like there's 3 choices of who could win and walk away with the world title. And Moose obviously retaining would be an option. Josh Alexander would be a great option as well, but given the circumstances, the social media impact right now of Joe Hendry, you have to put that TNA World Championship on Joe Hendry. We've just seen him in NXT, teaming with the former NXT champion Trick Williams. So it's pretty telling that when he's going to NXT, he's getting good booking there. And he's being treated like a major star. And if the fans have been booking like the idea of a worlds collide between TNA and NXT, that if this were to happen and they do a champion versus champion, you have Joe Hendry winning the TNA World Championship this Saturday, would then go on to challenge Ethan Page, the NXT champion, at Worlds Collide. And that's a great matchup. That's a great match. I hope that this does come to fruition where it is going to be a Worlds Collide using the old WWE booking of Survivor Series where it's champion versus champion. Maybe you could even do this during Survivor Series weekend, which is rumored to be taking place in Los Angeles, where you couldn't host Worlds Collide on Friday or Sunday after Survivor Series, where you have Survivor Series on Saturday. Sunday would be Worlds Collide, similar to how WWE just did Money in the Bank on Saturday and then NXT Heatwave on Sunday. But the other question remains here, and is this: obviously a lot of people are going to be rooting for Joe Hendry to win the TNA World Championship, but I do have to pose this question, and I want your comments and I want your thoughts in the comment section below. Does Joe Hendry actually need the TNA World Championship? Because he's already super over. No matter where he goes, like I said, he's over in NXT, he's over in TNA, and it's at the point where you kind of have to think to yourself, does he really need the championship? He's already super over. He's popular. His merchandise is moving like crazy. I have I think I bought like 2 Joe Hendry T-shirts the other day. Hopefully they'll be delivered probably within the next week or two. But it's just when you think about who is going to be your next world champion in any promotion, you have to ask. Yeah, as much as someone is over, you have to ask, does the championship do more to make that person more over? Or is the championship going to get in the way, so to speak? Because, does we look at what WWE is doing right now with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and I'm assuming that Seth Rollins is going to be involved, and we're going to get a big triple threat match at some point between those three. And, we look at that and we go, it doesn't need the title. Drew and Punk don't need the title for their feud. When you add Seth Rollins into the mix, again, you still don't need the world title. So Damian Priest still being the champion, and then most likely dropping to Gunther at SummerSlam, you have those three that can feud on the side because their rivalry is so big and has so much heat already that the title isn't needed. And then you look at Joe Hendry, where he's super over. Does he really need the championship? And you look at it from both ends and you go, Joe Hendry is going to be over no matter what, whether he walks out of Montreal, walks out of Slammiversary with the TNA World Championship, or if he doesn't walk out with the TNA World Championship. So, the company, TNA has to look at it and go, is he going to be more over? Are we going to move more merchandise with him as world champion? And honestly, yeah, you probably will. You probably are. And striking while the iron is hot has never meant more than when it comes to Joe Hendry. And I don't know what his contract situation is, but if I'm TNA, not only am I going to give him the World Championship this Saturday, but I'm inking him into a long-term contract to keep him in TNA and under the TNA umbrella, because I kind of want to see, TNA be able to flourish and be able to have their own stars to rise up and become more known across the wrestling world. And Joe Hendry provides that to TNA, because Joe Hendry, as a TNA World Champion, is going to draw to TNA. It's going to get TNA more well known. And again, if you have him show up in NXT with that TNA World Championship, and again, you look at this past Saturday or this past Tuesday when he showed up to be Trick Williams' partner, the entire NXT crowd is singing his theme songs. So to me, putting the TNA World Championship on Joe Hendry makes the most sense this Saturday at Slammiversary. And if TNA doesn't, it will be a big mistake. Comment below. Do you believe in Joe Hendry? Do you believe in Joe Hendry for TNA World Champion at Slammiversary? Comment below and join me all this week for a big week here on the channel, as I will have my review of WrestleMania 40 behind the curtain, because I have a lot of thoughts on that. Given that this plaque right here would not even exist on my wall, because we were very close to not having Cody finishing his story, and I will book John Cena's farewell tour from start to finish. So, hit that like and subscribe button and join me all this week for more wrestling content here at Ringside Cinema.
Ringside Cinema, living out the dream. Lights down, time to go. Cheers for heroes we know. Ringside forever bold. Wrestling never gets old.